Hickok 45 here. Yes, welcome to the Hickok 45 Talks channel. Yep, that's where you are. That's where I am. And of course, it doesn't matter as long as you're here, right? So, yeah, you can be different. You don't have to be a conformist. You can be a non-conformist. Yes, what's a non-conformist? I don't know. Probably somebody who doesn't conform. Doing what everybody else does, or what your group does, or what other groups do, whatever. I was a huge fan of Henry David Thoreau when I read his writings in college. I did not read him in high school. They protected us, I guess, from old Hank, and didn't want us being nonconformists. There were already enough nonconformists, I guess, in the late 60s, all right? Or were they nonconformists, you know? And that's part of the point I guess I wanted to make. There are lots of groups out there, aren't there, small or large, who would who consider themselves probably nonconformists, some of them. They are off the beaten path. They're different. They're not stupid. They're not following the conventional wisdom that all the other idiots are following. They got their own group, right? They're the antagonists. They're going against the grain, raging against the machine or whatever. Well, maybe, but you know what happens? You look at those groups, the hippie movement, the hippie group, or whatever I was kind of alluding to there loosely, I guess, in the 60s, but you had better conform to that group, or you're not a member of that group either, are you? Are we? Whatever. And that's my point. I was going to talk about this on a Sunday not too long ago, and I don't know, I've taken too much time, and I was going to launch into this a little bit. I'll save it for a talks video. And I guess the point I want to make is that if you haven't thought about this, and especially young people, but anybody, there's always a group that is ready and willing to accept you or me. I guess, would any group accept me? And sometimes we think we're going against the grain, or yeah, these are the smart ones. These are the people that have it all together. They're not doing what everybody else is doing, or whatever. They're doing something, they're thinking some way that is attractive to you or me, whatever. That's kind of exciting, maybe. Interesting, more innovative, more, I don't know, different, and some novel. Sometimes just different is real attractive, isn't it? Just the fact that it's different. Could be dead wrong or unhealthy, whatever the case might be, but the fact that it's a different way of looking at things, and especially if we're young, we can fall into that, then that's the way to go. I found my home. I found my team, my group. Yeah, I'm with them. Well, it's really easy, again, especially young folks, to get sucked into any group, virtually any group, little society, large society, whatever, that, I don't know, rewards you in many ways for joining their group, right? And being a supporting member of that group, whether it's financially or whatever, but just being a part of that group. Every group needs confirmation and numbers in order to justify, right, itself and to consider itself legitimate. You know, to legitimize my group, I need members, I need people to follow along and agree with me or the group or whatever it is that we I don't know, we believe in, or we whatever road we travel, right? And there's lots of ways that they do that. Your group is going to make you feel really comfortable, like you belong. Maybe you haven't felt like you really belonged to anything, any group before. And but this group makes you feel a sense of belonging. Very friendly and very nice to you, and they're concerned about you and everything. And wow, is that powerful stuff? That is powerful. I mean, if you get love bombed, I guess as they call it, by a group of people, oh man, that is very powerful stuff. Can be lethal though. You could be in the wrong place, in the wrong group, unhealthy group, and not realize it, because these people just are so good to me. They make me feel so much better. I have more self-worth. They're really good for my self-esteem. We all are of a common mind, whatever that might be. It might be a common mindlessness, but still powerful stuff. It could be something really unhealthy. How do you think these crazy groups get going? I guess I'm talking about group psychology here, mob mentality and all that kind of thing maybe. But, think back through history. Some of the craziest groups of people, whatever it is they're up to, well, it's a KKK or whatever, Nazis, I mean, you name it. If you get enough people following this crazy group, just starting with a small group of weirdos or whatever, sick people, and can attract more and more, again, through these methods. People that don't seem to fit in anywhere, and we all feel like that at times, right? Here's a group of people that are just so welcoming. They're so certain. That's another aspect of this, isn't it? When people are just so confident in their philosophy or their outlook on life, it could be anything. It could be religion, it could be politics, it could be anything. That's it's infectious, really. It spreads, and it makes you feel good if you can kind of latch onto it. Who was it? Kierkegaard, one of the great thinkers, had a line I've liked for a long time. He called it the magic of the unconflicted person. I think it was Kierkegaard. The magic of the unconflicted person. Someone who has a lot of charisma, confidence in their outlook on life and what their mission is within this group, whatever it is. It can really just infect everybody, and that can be a positive thing, can it? If it's a healthy type of group. If it's not, it can be very unhealthy, but it's still infectious. We as humans respond to that. We just can't help it. If you're around, you think about it, you're around people, you young people especially, you're seeing this already, I'm sure, in your social groups in middle school or high school, wherever it is, college. There's usually some people involved in this peer group or this group, whatever it is, that are very convincing, very have strong personalities, a lot of charisma, and you're just kind of drawn to them naturally. And whatever they say, maybe they're well spoken, they're very articulate. That you take someone who has a lot of charisma, and they're very articulate, they're very clever. Wow. They can really pull the people in. Again, whether it's something that is a positive force group or a negative, situation. So you want to be aware of that, how we all are susceptible to that. Any group in society is quite happy to have us as a member, part of that group, whether it's official or unofficial, whatever. If we toe the line and we support, their visions and we get as crazy as they are, maybe, or as, just into it as much as they are, then they're all about making us feel really good about that, right? And again, this could be anything. It could be, you name it, period, anything. I was saying it could be politics. It could be a group of atheists, group of Christians, group of what, you name it, whatever it is. It could be an extremely healthy group or an unhealthy group. organization, whatever you want to call it. But don't get suckered in, if you can't help it, to something you really don't believe in necessarily. It's okay to be different. It's okay to be different. In fact, if you're not different, and Emerson Thoreau wrote on this all the time. What was it, Emerson that said to be a man, to be a man, he meant be a human, independent human, of course, old writer. To be a man, one must be a non-conformist. And, in other words, if you are just conforming to everybody else in this group or that group and thinking groupthink, you're not really a person. You're not an individual. You're just another blade of grass, in that group. I mean, that's just it. So whatever the cause is, whatever the group is, keep that in mind. You are not necessarily being treated so well because you're special. It's because that group needs you in there. They love having more members for that cause, okay, to make them more legitimate. Whatever the group is, keep that in mind. Even if it's a healthy group, you're involved in that same group dynamic, and it may not be unhealthy if it's a group that's not doing any harm, but still be aware that you are kind of a robot, okay, which might be good. Just depends on what your individual values are. So it's okay to lose some of our individuality if we're working with a group, an organization, a cause, or whatever that is really furthering and supporting something we really believe in, of course, right? And I guess that's part of the point. Make sure, because it's easy to get, tied up with some really convincing people with lots of personality, strong personality, and it's not necessarily something we want to be involved with. But that magnetism, that magnetic effect of those charismatic people can make just a big difference. And it can be a big deal, large groups, or it can be small. It could just be you're around the college campus and there's a small group here, a small group here. These people do this. These people like to play badminton or whatever it might be, but it's a smaller group. But you see it, don't you? You see it. One person with a charismatic personality has such an enormous influence on just a handful of other people, and doesn't have to be unhealthy, but just be aware of that. Be aware of that. We're not necessarily that special because people work so hard to get us into their group, whatever that might be. Be different. Don't be afraid to be different. Look at me. I'm as weird as they come. No, don't look at me. Just travel to the beat of that different drummer if you want to, and it might make life more interesting. Yeah, really might. I'm done. Life is good.